Hello everyone, Nathan here, and welcome to a Company of Heroes free gameplay video. Today we're going to take a look at the USF faction. I played a lot of USF on Company of Heroes 2, it's my most played faction, it's just my playstyle, I like the aggression. So, going into Company of Heroes 3, I was curious to see how that translated into the game. And I'm not too disappointed in the USF faction, there's a lot that you can play around with, but in the current alpha, the alpha, the Wehrmacht just seems overall, better. I'm very disappointed in how rifles are right now. Of course, this is alpha. The balance isn't there yet, so be aware of that, of course. But yeah, rifles just didn't seem worth it at all. What seemed quite potent were the Pathfinders. The Pathfinders in the game have a 50% capture rate, which is really strong in this game, from what I can tell. The Germans have the Kenkrad, which has a 50% capture speed, I believe. It caps super fast, that's all I know. And it doesn't have a gun, but you can literally drive around the map capping, and if you upgrade it with the communications upgrade, it gains resource bonuses. But let's save that for another video on the Wehrmacht. Today we're just going to be talking about the USF. So USF isn't exactly, down in the dumps. It has some stuff, in your HQ building, as I said, you get the Pathfinder scouts, which upgrade into the Pathfinders if you go to airborne. And later on, you get, stuff like the MG, which the MG seemed quite potent. Suppression values aren't as bad in this game, I've noticed. Stuff does a lot of damage if you're up close, but if you're far away, it doesn't do too much damage, and suppression doesn't seem like it does, it's not as extreme on Company of Heroes 2. Or rather, it's not as extreme on Company of Heroes 3 than it is on 2. Which isn't too bad. I do think they need to maybe tweak it a little bit just so that you get suppressed a little bit longer. But, my biggest peeve on Company of Heroes 2 was the fact that everything could suppress to an extent. Like, if you get suppressed by an MG42 or a 50 cal or whatever, a machine gun, you could then use any infantry in the game, any unit in the game, basically to keep that unit pinned. So you'd be stuck in suppression for ages until you basically retreat, which that's what it led to, just constant retreats if you got touched by suppression. And I just think the suppression values could have needed a bit more of a toning down on that. It was quite oppressive. Whereas on Company of Heroes 3 it seems like it's not enough, but I don't know, it's like it is an important factor of the game and you don't want to tweak it too much, so I can understand that. But yeah, later on you have to unlock your tier 2 and tier 3, sorry, and tier 4 you need to get what's called a support center. You've got 3 to choose from. That is the infantry, mechanized, and air force. Now, I don't think Air Force is worth it or at least in its current state, because air strikes and stuff are very slow. They are super slow. And it's so easy to dodge. Mechanized allows you to repair your vehicles without having an engineer, and of course allows you to get the M3 half-track upgrades, like, the AT upgrade and all that stuff. But I'm quite partial to the Infantry Support Center. This instantly drops you a captain, a 4-man crew with a LMG, which is quite interesting, quite nice, with the perks that it provides, as well as buffing up stuff like your reinforcement cost, which is quite nice. Giving other infantry some other buffs as well. But yeah, I like getting the captain, and then I can drop a paratrooper. And then that's all my infantry. Like I said, I feel like the USF is really weak on the infantry side. But what they do possess is let's just say the best light vehicle I have seen in a long while. The Chaffee is ridiculous. It nukes buildings. It can kill a P4. It will take out any medium in the game. It is way too good for its price. And of course, again, balance isn't there. But, we're going to talk about what I feel like is, quote-unquote, the problems of the faction, and what is, quote-unquote, the strengths of the faction in the current state. And, yeah, the Chaffee is so much more potent than going for a Sherman, in my eyes, because of how cheap it is. You honestly don't need to go for them, the heavier vehicles. But yeah, like, it's not, honestly, like, there's not that much to talk about. There's not much more to talk about for the USF faction, other than that I really would like to see rifles get stronger. Like, I don't know why you would choose rifles over Pathfinders, because the capping speed is so unbelievably slow if you don't have the 50% capture speed. So, you just can get back capped by the Kettenkrad. That's, in my experience, that's happened a lot, while the Germans just bully you, because the Grenadiers are, I don't know if they're superior, but they can consistently beat rifles, and then they can upgrade their Grens into P-Grens or Jaegers, and then you've just lost. So it just seems like it's better to get the cap and speed from the Pathfinders instead of the one additional man you can get and the bars. Not to mention that the USF snare is locked behind grenades, so you have to get grenades, like spend 30 fuel to unlock the grenades, which isn't that bad, but when you realize how small the snare is, it is non-existent range. It's a sticky bomb. It is not worth going for at all. It's better to go Pathfinders into a tier 2 start to get AT from like a bazooka squad if you really want to, or just rushing into the Chaffee to take out all your vehicles, at least in the current build. So I'd like to see some adjustments made for the rifles' killing power if they're not going to be good at, snaring tanks, for one thing, and maybe turning down how fast the scout units can cap, because 50% is extremely fast considering how every other unit caps very slow. And yeah, I think that's all my peeves, really. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. I do think, grenades need a better, a more obvious notification search. But again, I may do an additional video on my overall thoughts on that. So I'm not going to go too deeply into what I think they need to improve on, at least in this video. I just want to focus entirely on the US forces. The faction design as a whole, though, is better than Company Heroes 2. Like, if you look at Company Heroes 2, you have the captain and lieutenant up tier tech ups, and to get the AT gun you need to go captain. To get an MG you need to go lieutenant. But you can't go both, or you can, but that delays your tanks. So what do? You go airborne maybe to get the weapons drops. And let's talk about a little bit about the battle groups for the USF. So in the alpha, you have two: the armored battle group and the airborne battle group. As I said earlier, I like to use the airborne because I like my Pathfinders. I think they're a lot better than the rifles. But in the battle group, you have paratroopers. You have airstrikes and all that. Honestly, it's very similar to the one you get in Company Heroes 2. You got weapon drops, but instead of only getting the weapon drops, you also get a crew with each of it, with the AT and the MG. You also get supply drop, or you can grab, I think it's honestly, actually, I cannot remember from the top of my head. But you also get smoke or recon, and then later on you get like either a carpet bomb or a rocket strike. And in the armored doctrine, you have some, well, as you expect, lots of tank choices, or rather tank buff choices. On the left tree, you have assault engineers, and you have the every vehicle gets tier of Vet 1, which is so strong. Like, every single vehicle getting Vet 1, which means that you automatically unlock their first ability, or their veteran ability. That is really strong. One thing you can pair this up with is the Jeep, the Willys Jeep. If you get that to Vet 1, you can either have it cap the map. It doesn't have an increased speed cap, but it's still a fast vehicle, can get around capping. Or you can you can turn it into a little mobile supply vehicle where it can drop off heals. It can repair itself, which is so potent. And it can drop an MG or a mortar. So you don't even need to go tier 2 if you go this. You can go to tier 1 if you want and then get your rifles. Again, I don't think rifles are that good. You could get the bars on them, I guess, which is the double bars, which is makes them alright, I guess, but nothing too spectacular. Then you can get the recovery vehicle, which literally can resurrect dead tanks, anything. It's like they're abandoned. I don't like this. Like, as in, I don't like the fact that this is in the game. It's kind of silly if you think about it. Like in Pathfinders 2, the whole big thing I did not like was abandonments, and the fact that the Americans can resurrect my tanks with this vehicle. Oh, I don't know about that. I do not know about that at all. I've seen it in action. It reses up to like with like lower health and such, but. I don't know. It's iffy. I'm not a fan of abandonments or similar mechanics. The last stuff you can grab is an easy 8 with a US rifle squad. I personally don't like having a quote-unquote task force. Like, if I want an easy 8 without the rifleman squad, ideally. Like, we all know that if it comes with a unit, so a tank and a rifle, the manpower is inflated. And I don't necessarily always need another rifleman squad, especially considering how rifles aren't that great in the first place. So I don't think I like this, really. I would much prefer it just being an easy on its own. Like, that's all I really want. I think that's really the standout features of both the battle groups, really. And nothing else really came to mind other than, you know, the other command point purchases you can grab are like production speed increase and such for tanks, which of course can be quite strong, but you know, nothing that's, you know, standout. But there's some cool ones. I do definitely prefer this over the commander. The commander system on Pathfinders 2, because the commander system on Pathfinders 2 is very linear, very predictable. You know, at least there's a bit of spice, a bit of variety in this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the battle groups in the full game eventually. But yeah, that's really all I have to say today. If you enjoyed this video, then definitely leave a like on it, and comment down below, what are you looking forward to in the future of Pathfinders 3? Tell me. Other than that, I'll leave you be, and have a good rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye bye.